On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains.
Coming to you straight from San Diego, California. Let's welcome our host, April Mahoney.
Brains, we are very, very fortunate today to have our guests coming in all the way from Maryland, right here on the Edge, the place where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Today, it is Susan Driscoll. Oh, yes, Susan, right there. Right there. She is coming into us from Maryland, and she's going to talk to us about a lot of wonderful things. Talking to us about channeling. What is channeling? We all want to know. We're going to talk about it from a clinical perspective. We're also going to talk about it from a metaphysical and spiritual perspective. She's got a lot of wisdom. She's got a lot of years of experience. And so she's going to explain that to us and a whole lot more about what she's doing, what she's pouring into people, and what she hopes to grow organically from that. So, Brains, let us welcome our guest. Sit up straight, okay? Susan Driscoll, there she is.
Hey.
Hi, Susan.
Cheers to you, Brains. Good to be here.
To you. Bravo. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing.
Okay, well, what channeling is it's a process that an individual can allow herself to get into an altered state, a trance-like state, and then energy comes and speaks through the person, through the channel. So you are a channel, you're like a telephone. Information comes through you, you're the instrument. And this is something that I have been doing for 25, 30 years, the act of channeling itself. So it's been a long and interesting journey. What channeling isn't is it is not a sideshow attraction. It is not something that people do for a parlor game. It is an opportunity, really, to receive wisdom from higher sources. And you know, April, sometimes in life, we're faced with situations, we're faced with challenges, and we just don't know what to do because we're human. And we use our little brains and we go round and round and round in our brains and we try and figure out solutions to problems and we just can't. And so that's when it's a good idea to look for a different perspective. And that's what channeling does. It gives you a higher perspective. It gives you wisdom from the source.
Now, let me ask you, how did you tune into this channel? How did you raise your frequency?
Okay, well, as a kid, I was very open intuitively. So, you know, I knew things and it was a little bit unnerving to my very traditional Catholic family. So I kind of shut down. I was very introverted. But I loved learning about religions and how people worshiped and what their relationship with God was, all of that stuff. So I learned at a very early age that this was something that was really kind of weird and people judged you and it wasn't something you wanted to share with the public. And because of all that, I became very, very wary of this gift. And even though it continued to grow within me, I couldn't turn it off. I kept knowing things and seeing things and hearing things. I was very reluctant to share this. And so what happened was when I reached young adulthood, I had the opportunity to start to learn a little bit about what it was like to develop spiritual gifts. And then I felt a little more comfortable, a little more relaxed. So I would take some classes and I would read some books. And then I would say, okay, that's enough. I'm going to go back to being a normal person. And I did this whole back and forth routine for a long time because I was very afraid of being judged and I wanted a normal life. And I had
Well,
this
people will
internal
judge you
conflict.
because they don't understand. You know, they
That's
don't
right.
understand their gifts, and all of us have gifts, and all of us are psychic, you know, to a
Yes.
point. We all have an intuition. We all have some insight, some knowing, but it's different when you have developed it. Now, let me ask you a little bit about channeling. When you get into this channel state, you're working with an individual. Do you go into like a meditative state, a hypnotic state? Because you know, hypnosis is deeper than meditation. You know, as far
That's correct.
as the level
I
of
would say, yeah, I would say it because I do both hypnosis and meditation. But for channeling, what I do is it's really a hypnotic state. And my process is to do some deep breathing, to say a prayer, and it's the prayer of St. Francis, and do some more deep breathing. And then the energy comes and speaks through me. And I have done this for, 30 years. So
Now, you said that you were, you know, deeply rooted in Catholicism. You were Catholic. Tell us
yes.
the correlation between spiritual and your religion. You had mentioned that to me a little bit.
Yes, spirituality, let me say this, religion is appropriate for some people and not. Religion is, I want to say, it's a belief system that has certain rules and certain beliefs, and you believe and you follow the rules, and you'll be saved. Don't follow the rules and question the beliefs, and you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
And so
Going to hell, brains. You're going to hell. Let's hope not. Let's hope.
Yeah, and spirituality is far more it's broader, it's more it's not dogma based really. And it allows individuals the opportunity to learn and to grow through their experiences and not to be afraid of having those experiences.
I find religion as like a set of religion is a discipline.
Yes.
There are rituals. There are structures.
Yes.
Brain, you can get mad at me if you want to. All of it to me is a form of mind control. All of it. I don't care which one you pick. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with having your mind controlled. But when you deal with the spiritual realm, you're free. You're floating. You're exploring. You're opening yourself up to a new awakening. You're dealing in that subconscious mind, that other 95% that we don't even touch. Okay? It's different. It's healing. You experience past lives. You have an insight to your future life. But what is helping you do, Brains, is helping you guide here in the present. So when you work with your clients and they're looking for someone to help them channel an experience, let me ask you a couple of questions. The first one, do you help people go back and help them resolve trauma from their childhood or traumatic experiences with PTSD?
Yes, I mean, everything, there's nothing that is off limits in channeling. When you come to me as a channeling client and you have a specific set of questions, a specific issue that you want addressed, then it will be addressed. You will get the answers that you're looking for. And oftentimes when we go and we do a past life reading, when we go into the Akasha and look at some past lives, we can then understand the patterns of these past lives that created the circumstances for this current life and why you're facing certain challenges and why you have certain people who keep showing up in your life, even though they might have different faces, but they're the same person.
Right.
And it's the same lesson over and over. So that's one of the things that's really nice about channeling, is that it's very freeing. You can ask whatever you want to ask.
Now, let me ask you this. I hate to interrupt, but when you hit on a point, I don't want to miss it. Okay, this is scary too. Because everything in our past life, some people were murdered. Some people drowned. Some people were murderers. Some people were sexually assaulted. Some people were dictators or military people. There's a lot of things that are going to surface from that. I know that you are very careful in working with your clients, because finding out what happened to you then can be more traumatic than living with what's going on now. How do you bridge the gap when delivering this information to your client?
Okay, well, remember, I'm not giving the information, okay? The energy that speaks through me and the energy I work with primarily is named Martin. And Martin's an ascended master, and he is my spirit guide. And Martin is the messenger. Martin is the one who comes through. He's the one who delivers the information. Now, with that being said, I have never, ever, in all my years of doing this, heard him be mean, nasty, judgmental, angry. He always delivers everything with a great deal of respect and a great deal of love. And remember, April, we only get what we're ready to hear. If it's something that we aren't ready to receive, it's not going to come through. And so there are, they create these safeguards. Again, I'm just the instrument, but the message is always delivered with a great deal of respect and love, and it's very, very carefully worded, always, because there are times when information comes through, and Susan, who's over here somewhere, hears it, and I go, whoa, okay. But again, it's having the faith and the trust in the energy I work with and in the process that I've been given as a gift that makes me feel that this is very, very valuable for whoever comes to my door or whoever comes to my screen these days.
Right.
And so what I tell people always is, you can ask whatever you want to ask, but you have to be ready to get the answer.
Right.
You have to be ready for that answer.
Deliverable. It's the deliverable. Now, let me ask you another question. Are you ever frightened by what you have heard? I know that it's delivered to you with great care, but it still can be traumatic. Has anything ever affected you personally that you've had to deliver to one of your clients?
I would have to say very, very rarely, every once in a while, you hear something that's tough. That's tough for that person to get. And I have to say this, that oftentimes when, because I always do sort of a debriefing after a channeling. I sit with my client and that's when Susan, the counselor, kind of takes over and we talk about the information. And oftentimes when, someone has gotten some information that might be difficult to hear, they will say to me, I thought that was the case, or I had a feeling that was what was going on. Or so at some level, they knew this was the case and they were just not ready to consciously accept it, that they had to come and ask the questions so they could hear it from this other source.
Now, do you channel with your eyes open or closed?
Open.
Yeah.
When I go through my process, I do, when I do the deep breathing and I say my prayer, my eyes are closed and my glasses are off. And then when Martin comes through, then my eyes are open. If I'm doing a live group, like in person, which we can't do right now, but I've done for years, he'll be standing up and he'll be moving around the room. He's very animated. He's a lot of energy. I mean, he's a lot of energy.
Does your voice change?
Oh yeah. And yes, it changes. And I would welcome anybody who wants to listen to Martin to contact me. And we'll talk about that later on in April.
Yeah, I want to listen to Martin. I want to talk to
Okay.
Martin. I want to see what Martin's got to say.
Okay. Well, Martin, let me give you a little background on Martin while we're talking about him. When I was first opening my channel, and I did it with the help of my friend named Anna, who herself was an intuitive, I could feel the words being formed in my head, which was a very strange, it was very strange.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was coming through and he was speaking, and I wasn't getting a name. I didn't know who this was. And so that was a little scary because this was all very new to me. And so finally one day Anna said, well, would you please give us a name? Tell us who you are. And he said, my name is Martin. I was so disappointed. It's like everybody's channeling, the Maharishi and Saint Germain and Mother and blah, blah, blah. I get Martin. Okay. But what I can tell you about Martin is that he is a spokesperson for a group of energies off the God source. They're all straight from the God source. And the reason that he is a spokesperson is because he was the only one who's been incarnated. And his last incarnation, he was a little boy in India during the British colonial rule. And he was an untouchable. So he was a little boy, he was a beggar, he lived on the streets, and he was there to love the unlovable. So
wow.
Martin comes through with a British accent.
So Martin communicated with you, or did you research him? And how did you find this out?
He told me this. In our many discussions over the years.
So now you're married, Susan. What does your man think about Martin dancing around in your head?
Oh. Well, let me say, part of my journey was getting divorced from the father of my children, my other husband, who just thought that this was witchcraft and of the devil, and that I was crazy, and so I had to go through all of that, which was really pretty scary and pretty awful. And now that I am remarried to an absolutely wonderful man who I met when I was in college. Our joke is, we met in college and you asked me out 30 years later. John is terrific. And I don't think I could do this work if I wasn't supported by him 100%. He is terrific, very supportive. And he's also intuitive, which helps. He's not a practicing intuitive, but he is spot on with so many things. We'll be sitting watching TV and he'll just look up and say, okay, thanks for the message.
Yeah.
Someone in spirits come through to him. So he loves the idea that we have this kind of relationship where we know that we've traveled together before, that we came together when we did, at the time we did, and that he can call on Martin for a consult, and I'll give him the friends and family discount.
I love it. So let me ask a question. How does this support you as a counselor? Because some of your clients may not know that you have this gift, but you have messages that are coming through as you're working with them. Does this help facilitate their healing? Because you may not want to reveal it. Again, everybody's not down with this, brains, and I know. That's why I bring it to you, to give you the information. Whether you are open to this or not, you cannot make an informed decision without complete information. Okay, so I'm providing you the information. So how does this information help you with working with your clients and helping them navigate through life's challenges, Susan?
Okay, well, I do have a traditional practice, And I would say the majority of those clients, don't really know that I do energy work. Some of them do, and they get very excited. And they ask, well, what do you think about this? What does Martin think about this? And I'm like, separate service. Sorry. Can't do it.
Blue Cross doesn't cover this, baby.
No, Blue Cross is not going to pay for this one. So I can't go there. With all of that being said, there are times when I will be sitting in a therapy session with a client and I get some insight and I use it. And I use it in a way that they have no idea that I'm really coming from an intuitive perspective, because I can say, sounds like you're having some difficulty with this particular situation with your ex-husband. Have you considered blah, blah, blah? Just like that. And then they just accept it as a part of their counseling experience. They don't know.
Right. So you are a pipeline for energy, information,
yes.
source, and light. How do you keep that pipeline clean? How do you cleanse yourself? Because I need to know that my conduit is clear when you're working with me, but also it takes on a lot of heavy lifting. I know at one point I was going to be a massage therapist, and the energy that I would take on from people and the feeling and the touch and their sickness, it backed me up off of that. How do you clear yourself?
Yeah. Oh, well, every day, I meditate every day, of course. I spend time in nature every day, unless, we have a blizzard or something. Those are two very important things. I clear my consult room every day with crystals and so on. So you really have...
I'm a sage burner.
Yeah. I have a crystal and a tuner that I use instead of sage, so people don't think I'm smoking weed. Because sage does smell just like weed. Right. So I do that. I also have learned over the years that there are some, if somebody walks in to see me and I get a very strong reaction, I know I'm not going to work with that person. And I have asked my guides to please only send me people who I can work with. As I have been told that I am fired as being the fixer and the social worker, that I am here to be of service to people, however that service manifests.
So tell me some fun things that you do in your life when you are not doing the heavy lifting. You say you love to walk in nature. What is some of your favorite things? Do you like to look at the flowers? Do you like to look at the birds? Do you like to be by running water? What is it that just ignites you when it comes to
all of the above? First of all, I talked about my wonderful husband, and I'm blessed that he is by profession a landscape contractor. Ooh. So we have, a beautiful, beautiful front yard, a beautiful backyard. My office where I'm sitting right now, my desk is in front of a window and I'm looking out at my front yard with my dogwoods in bloom. I have all kinds of flowers, bunnies and squirrels, and cardinals. We have colony of cardinals, and cardinals are angels.
Yes.
So it's wonderful. I love being out in nature. I grew up at the Jersey Shore, so I'm a beach girl. I'm a beach bum. You get me to the ocean, and you have a real hard time getting me away from the ocean.
I know.
Yeah.
So, Susan, I know that you've had an opportunity to have some one-on-ones with Martin.
Yes.
Okay? Have you talked to him about where we are in the world, where we are as people? This COVID-19 has changed the world as we've known it.
Oh, absolutely.
Never going to be the same. What sort of insight and inspiration can you offer us from some of the experiences and conversations that you've had?
Okay. Well, as you can imagine, April, this is a very hot topic. I've done a lot of channeling in the past couple of months. and I've gotten some very good insight. First of all, I think the hard message to hear is that we brought this on ourselves, that we have abused the earth and we have abused our own bodies by our lifestyle. You know, we're always running, doing, and never taking the time to stop, not taking the proper time for self-care, all of that. So all of these forces kind of came together and the universe just said, time out.
Right.
Time out for all of you.
Absolutely.
And the old systems that we had in place clearly were not working, which is why we're facing such an enormous crisis, both on the health front and the economic front, and that we have to allow the old systems to fall apart and take this time to think creatively about how we want to move forward in the world, which will be very different. And it will be different because we are given this opportunity to create something new. Now, the last group I did, he talked about this time as we are pregnant. And as your pregnancy continues and the fetus develops and you feel the life kicking and you're ready to give birth, you give birth. And then you watch this baby grow to adulthood. And I really like the metaphor because I think it's something people can understand.
I tell people all the time, this is creating a new species.
It is.
It may not look different than what we know, but innately, you know, and there's a lot of babies that are being born. There are a lot of people that are contracting this COVID-19, and it's morphing differently in people. It's ever evolving. It's changing. It's not stopping. People are getting bored and they're getting comfortable and they're thinking, oh, okay, well, you know, it's over with now. But it's not, brains. It's still going on. You know, it's still going on. So I want you to be careful. I want you to be smart. I'm looking up here. I've got a beautiful bird. He's just perched on my window. He's coming every day and he's watching me. Maybe it's one of Martin's friends. I don't know.
I think it's your angel, one of your angels, April, and you got a fleet of them around you. You know that.
Well, you know what? And I honor them. I really do, because I'm telling the devil is busy and I need all my armor to get rid of him. Tell us what you're doing moving forward. Are you doing some online courses or classes? And how can friends get in contact with you?
I am, and I'm going to tell you, first of all, I have a Martin's Messages Facebook page. Go to the page. All of my events will be listed there. The other thing that's on that page is I do a live channeled meditation every Tuesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And if you can't join at that time, they are saved on the page. So you can go in and have a nice meditation with Martin, get to know him. That service is free. I was called to do that during this time of COVID. So giving people that. I have a group coming up, virtual group on the 20th of this month called Love in the Time of COVID.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so that information again will be posted on the Facebook page. How to register? It's very affordable. It's $25, and it's a couple hours long. You can hear what he has to say. You can ask questions, and then next month I'm going to be doing a series of classes. It's brand new. It's called Awaken, and it's about taking that deep dive right here into your heart and tapping into your inner wisdom. It's helping people do that. So, and again, that's offered virtually. So
what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of the links on our Facebook page to Susan's programs. And I want you to connect with her. Go in and listen. Again, we've touched the surface, but do the deep dive. If it's not for you, you can click off. It's not going to hurt you. But it may raise your frequency to a whole nother level, okay? You may be able to explore. You may be able to release some of the stress and anxiety that's building up. You may become a kinder, gentler person, or you also may be able to receive some of the answers to the questions that you have been longing to know your entire life. I want to thank you, Susan Driscoll, for being here on the edge with me and my brains. Go back and listen to other edgy conversations right here. You can find us on Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the whole shebang. Go and help me raise those numbers because I know that you're loving it. You guys are tuning in. You're watching the watch party every weekend. Susan, thank you so much. When you come out with your book, I'd love to also hear an audio book from you too. That would be fascinating. So when you get to that point, please come on back. There's always going to be space for you on the edge. And we're going to hang out afterwards because I may have a couple questions for Martin.
Okay. All right. Thank you, April. Bye, brains.
Bye, brains. I'll talk to you guys later.